Mark, it's a quick turnaround. Salford City at Priestfield on Saturday. Obviously it's not ideal, only having a couple of days to get ready. What kind of challenge are you expecting from Salford?
It's no different to a Saturday to Tuesday, so the turnaround's like the time frame's normal. A quick turnaround to this, I think we spoke 15 hours ago, so not much has happened since. But Salford played Tuesday, they're in a really good run of form at the moment. Got an athletic team, experienced manager, and they've got some good options throughout their side. So certainly going to be a challenging game. One, because of the form that they're in, but two, because of the situation we find ourselves in. So we need to prepare ourselves really quickly. Today's a next to nothing day really. We've seen the boys this morning. We've touched base with a few that are carrying a few knocks and bits and pieces from the game. We don't normally see them the day after a game. A small group trained, and then we won't really be able to do any proper work till tomorrow, and even then that'll be very, very limited. So we're spending the afternoon, and we've started really working on Salford today. We'll spend the afternoon doing likewise, and then give the players a dose of what to expect come the weekend. Any
chats with the players this morning? Will you do that tomorrow at the training ground? Anything said, or does it not need to be said?
More so tomorrow. But yeah, everyone's sick of speaking. It's like we just got to do it. So we had 2 weeks of talking and training. So yeah, we just got to deliver. So that's the main aim. We have to get back to work tomorrow properly and get a team ready to be a competitive one at the weekend.
Just some housekeeping. Anyone come into the squad? Anyone, Jake Turner perhaps missing out, or is it the same squad as per Bromley?
Yeah. So Jake, we're not sure on yet. Maybe got a broken nose. His eye blew up a bit last night, and he had lost his vision in one of his eyes, which is fine today. There's no concussion, but he might have a bit of a break. So if he were to play, he might have to play with a mask and things like that. So we'll just see how that one goes overnight. But that's one. Timmy Dieng felt his hamstring last week in training, so that's why he missed out, but he's been running today. He won't be fit for the weekend. Robbie obviously came back in. Aaron Rowe and Bradley Dack have trained all week, so potentially available for the weekend. Other than that, I think that's it.
Mark, thank you. Ben, all yours.
Did you mention Max Clark last night?
Max Clark and Kate have had a baby, so excellent. Yeah, that's why he's not there. But we hope to see him tomorrow. So he's our congratulations to them. It's great news, and we look forward to seeing him.
And Armani there at all?
Armani's hamstring, sort of same really, just a little bit worse than we originally thought on the second reading of the scan. So he's not running at the moment. The time off that we've had between games has probably helped mean he's not missed too many. But I think certainly this weekend and probably next week's too soon for him. So if we can get him back over that Christmas period at some point, then that'll be important. And I think with him, we need to try to get to a point where he can come back and not break again. Because he's just so integral. What he brings the team is everything we want to build the team around, and at the moment when he plays he makes too big a difference, and when he's not there it's too big a loss. So that's a bit of a slight on everybody else. He's probably the biggest leader there last night, and he's in his tracksuit in the dugout. So we're desperate to have him back. We want to build a team around people like that, but he's not ready at the moment.
And I guess similar with Rowe and Dak, you don't want to lose them longer term. You've obviously been cautious with Aaron Rowe in the previous game and stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I think with Rowe it's just going to be a little bit of see if he can get any part of the game and gradually build that up. But that should be something he can come back from. We just can't go all in straight away. And with Daki, it's just who knows really. There is no formula really to that. It's just suck it and see a little bit. So we'll see if he gets through the week okay. We'll see whether we involve him at the weekend, and then again we'll just see as we go really.
Mm-hmm. How are you after last night? I think a few fans kind of saw the little clip that went out on social media and thought you looked a bit shell-shocked after the performance.
Yeah, look at the state of me, tired. I think no different to everybody else, just really frustrated with the run that we're on, with the level that we're playing at. I think when you look at so many of the games that we've played recently, if you look deep into some of the statistics of the game, to have lost as many of the games that we have is shocking, really. We should have taken points from games. We should have won games that we haven't, and we keep finding ways of losing those games, which is really frustrating. So I think overall, how are we? I think we know that we're in a bad position at the moment. We know that we're in a bad run of form at the moment. We know the team's not reflective of what any of us want to see on the football pitch, supporters included. And we know that at the moment it's a really disjointed team as we try and find a solution and get some fit and make the changes that we're going to need to make to build that team. So we've got to try and do that again this weekend. I think for all of the disappointment and frustration of some of those games in that run, I still think we should be more points better off than we are. And goals seem to be too fatal in games, really, that when we score them they don't have the impact they should, that we go on and last night's equaliser should really propel us on to go and win the game, and when we concede we look beaten. So at the moment we're really disjointed. We get dispirited really quickly. I think the effort levels at times aren't good enough. I think we look soft sometimes, we look spoilt sometimes, and none of those are a really good formula to becoming a top team. So there's a lot to do.
I was just thinking after last night about the start of the season and say the Carlisle win and the Tranmere win, and there was obviously that determination and work rate there, and there was also a bit of a swagger about, you know, some of the players and the way you attacked, and I don't know, it feels like that identity's been lost a little bit.
Yeah, and I would say that identity wasn't developed then. I was telling everyone, calm yourself, because we are miles away from good at the moment, and we probably scored a couple of bigger wins that we maybe did better in those games than when we should have done. But everyone can be good for a short spell. Look up and down the country. People change their manager time and time again. Look back at the history here. Everyone's good for a bit because it just makes a difference. Like, motivation's nothing if you haven't got stamina that goes with it, and you have to have the stamina to be motivated and driven and give that all the time, regardless of the criticism you come under, the results that you have, your own performance levels dropping, injuries, changes. There are lots of things you can say that have contributed towards it, but like, it's all nonsense, really. We're in control of being better than that, and we've been in games enough that we should have taken some better results from them. But certainly the team that we started out being, we've moved away from a little bit, and the level of focus and intensity and edge hasn't been as good, and we're trying to find as many ways as possible to get after the boys, to support the boys, to give them what we get. I think what we're giving the players is good, I do, but you wouldn't think it is, because the level so far in too many moments has been really poor. And whether that's a physical level or engagement in the game or tactical understanding or just really, really simple, basic technical levels, which last night at times were really wanting, makes the game hard, because there are spells in the game where we're good. Last night we start well, we have some chances, we have some moments, and we just fade out the game. We just fade out and we lose all threat in the game. So a little bit of that, maybe confidence and all that, but I'll be honest, I just think that's soft. Like, if you're a winner, you're a winner, and you've got to grind it out. And we're a bit of half a team at the moment, and when we get it right, we'll be all right.
And is it a case of you need to get it right quick, because otherwise the season's going to peter out and your aims that you've started off are going to kind of get too far away from you?
I think half of that's true. We've got to get it right quick, because no one enjoys this, no one wants to come and watch this, no one enjoys coming into work, it's miserable. The second side of that is this league will be open till blooming March or April, so you've seen teams that can put runs together, and we'll have to improve, and we'll have to get better, and we'll have to make changes and all those things. This season can still be one that we get something out of. It doesn't feel like it or look like it now, but it can be, but only if we turn that round ourselves. So I think that's the key. We've got to get better soon, because we don't want to be sat where we are. I think the league's really open. I think the league is fairly average. I think there's not, when I say that, it's not a disrespectful comment, I just mean there's not like loads of standout teams. I think it's so even that the opportunity's there to put runs together, and all we keep talking about is a couple of wins and we're back in it, but it's like we're just hoping that it's going to happen rather than going and making it happen. So I think that's the key. Like, everyone's got to go and get after it, but I don't think some of the levels in our game, some of the goals we've conceded, some of the chances we've missed, some of the moments in games, I don't think it's reflective enough of where we need to be. And I don't think the supporters and the staff and some of the players deserve that, really. but we've got to find a better level, because we haven't been good enough and we haven't been consistent enough, and so we'll have to be those things this weekend, because we're playing another good side, and if we find our best level we can win it, but if we don't we'll get beat. It's really simple.
And I guess as well it's about this home form, trying to go back to what you were doing at the start of the season when you were obviously winning a lot of games here, and then you ended up getting beat by a lot of bottom half teams here on the flip side of that in recent times.
Yeah, and there's been a common trend, and I think in a lot of those games we've had a lot of the ball, we've created chances, our expected goals maybe has been better than opposition at times, but actually the number of chances we've created, the quality of those chances probably hasn't been good enough often enough. So yeah, we got loads to do, and yes, home form, of course that matters, but in the end you just got to win games, full stop, left, right, centre, home, away, wherever it is. We've had games where we've gone away and we've took some big results, and then games where we've just drifted away in games and been really average, or games where we've let games slip away from us. You know, Swindon last night, they're games we should be winning or certainly doing better in, but we haven't had the grit to fight it and hold on to the results when we've had them, or the quality and drive to just go on and win the game properly and find a better level. And that's where we have to do better. I have to do better. I have to get more out of these players, but they've got to give more as well, because there's a pattern emerged over a couple of years that probably means right now we're not ready to be a successful team, and so we're going to have to do something about it.
And you talked about making some changes, and maybe drastic changes. Do you need to make kind of big selection calls in that regard, and is it a case of picking the leaders, picking the characters?
Yeah, I think it just depends who's available a little bit. I mean, I think the quick turnaround means we'll have to make some changes anyway, because we've played for the first time in quite a while, and if you didn't play the last game, it was ages since you played, so to go again so soon will be probably physically demanding for some, and they won't be able to. There's a few that have got beat up, bruised and battered the other night, so they might disqualify themselves anyway. And then there's just the need to pick a team that's trustful, reliable, got the character that we're going to need in the game, and make sure we've got an energy about us to match Salford and to be a good Gillingham side. So I think there's loads of considerations there. I think changes are inevitable because of all the reasons that I've said anyway, and we'll try and put a team out that can deliver. But I think the worst thing that you don't want this as a player. You definitely don't want this as a fan when you turn up to the ground, and you 100% do not want this as a manager. But when a game starts and you put a team on the pitch and you're not quite sure what's coming, that's a bad situation to be in, and that's where we found ourselves too often. So we need to get over that and find a team that can give us what we want more often, because we've seen it, but we haven't seen it anywhere near enough.
Thank you.
After last night's game, and maybe a few before, people have been sort of questioning the players and whether they care or not. I mean, what's your answer to that? Because they obviously do, but sometimes it doesn't look like it. It's tough.
Yeah, I don't think it hurts some enough, definitely. And some players have even suggested that in the room to each other, and it don't really create much of a reaction. So, yeah, I think we've got some spoilt players. I think we've got some soft players, and I think we've got some talented people that really care and want to do well, and we've got to get as many talented people that want to do well as possible, and we've got to get over the fact that it's comfortable here and you can just be good for a bit and then sink away, because we talk about ambition all the time and the word promotion gets mentioned all the time, and we haven't shown anywhere near enough qualities to be considered as one of those teams at all. So I think players care. I think it shows itself in different ways with some than others. But in the end, the reaction and the where you really read that is just in the performances and in the toughest moments in the game, and whether it's, are we good enough, are we fit enough, are we working hard enough, are we strong enough, are we athletic enough, are we driven enough, are we organised enough, are we good enough, are we caring enough? All those things will be questioned all the time. The only place you can prove it is on the pitch, and we had bits in the game last night where we start quite well and we have a bit of control in certain periods, but those periods aren't good enough because they don't define the game, and therefore they don't really warrant discussion or focus, and they'll get forgotten really quickly, and understandably, obviously, as well. As players, you have to sort of hang on to those a little bit, and you have to find a bit of pride to find something to fight for and want to win, because I think the situation that we find ourselves in is like, just quite a long way below, not the expectation, because I think that's over the top sometimes anyway, just what the players should expect from themselves and from each other, and probably a few too many just want to say it's someone else's fault.
Is it hard when you're in a cycle of not getting the results, whether the pressure then builds and maybe that can get to players as well?
Yeah, but it's our fault. So, like, if you can't get control of it, then we have to change you, or it has to change one way or the other. So yes, it is difficult, because the more pressure that's on you and the more confidence that drains from you, if you miss a chance in a game, that can really people lose confidence in a game really fast, and so on. That's the cycle of games, and you have to work your way through it. But the only thing I've ever known is when things are really hard in life, work harder, push each other more, and don't hide. And you can hide on a pitch, or you can hide in a dressing room, or you can get your head down, you can go quiet. And last night, it blew my mind in the first half how quiet it was last night in the stadium, and then on the pitch, because you could hear everything on the pitch or not. And that real drive is just like, wow, this is a edgy game, local derby, massive game, and it didn't feel like it. And I think sometimes we need to play more like it matters, because it does.
You had young Harry Webster on the bench, didn't you? Didn't get on. Is now not a time for youngsters, or is it a time to maybe just try something different?
It may be. So it could be a time for him, definitely, and one or two others as well. So they're ready to go in that sense. So they may get an opportunity, particularly with the run of games that are coming up. Sometimes it's a hard moment to put those players on and rely from them, but I also think that in the end, everybody accepts some errors and some mistakes in games if it's paired with absolute commitment and work ethic and all those things. Because when you get that in your team, you can sort of forgive everything else. When you don't get that, it's a bit unforgivable, and that's probably where we are. So there's one or two that might get a chance in the weeks ahead, and it might come sooner than they're ready for, but they won't let us down, and that's the key.
There was no Joe O'Day, was there listed out, I think?
No, not on the bench last night. Harry Webster went on the bench instead of him because we had no defensive cover last night. Yeah, he's fit, yeah, available for this weekend.
Hawkins, is he getting out?
No, he's not out on the grass yet, or was he out? He had a problem with his knee, so he's been in and out in terms of running and things, but he's not fit to go yet.
Do you have enough characters in the dressing room? Has your opinion changed since the start of the season?
Has my opinion changed since the start? Everyone asked for my opinion at the start, and I said I've got no comparison to make against, and I don't know them that well. Now I think I know the club and the team and the players really well, really well. We're nearing 20 games or whatever it is, probably in all comps over that. So I think I've got a really good picture now of what we have got and what we haven't got. And characters show themselves in different ways. We've got some players that are really committed, really care, work every day, consistent, reliable, trustworthy players. But they probably haven't got that extra little bit of leadership to really drive it and call people out and things like that. And that's fine. Actually, that's probably in any team, that's the group you get most of. We probably haven't got loads that are absolute drive it, talk, but there's less and less of those in football now, I think, than ever. And then we have some passengers, and then you never want people that just sort of don't buy in and don't do it the right way. So we haven't really got any of those. So that's good, but at the same time we definitely need a little bit more to drive us. And my earlier point about Armani, really, he is definitely one who is absolute top character that we want to build around. Elliot Nevitt's got a bit of that in him as well, and there's a few of them that have got it. So we need to see that, and we need to get those players in, and we need to add more to the group and get more out of the players that we've got.
Have you considered changing your captain?
No.
You said you're hoping that you need to make it instead of making it happen at the moment. What do you do to change that?
Work hard. That's it. Work hard. Keep trying to find formulas, and then in the end you rely on your players to step up and deliver either in individual moments in games or to drive each other through it. So we talk about being a good group, having good togetherness and all those things. Well, this is where you see it. So it's easy to say it when it's going well and when the sun's shining and you're winning. and much more difficult to show at this time. So that's it really. Crack on, doing the work, and seeing who can find the level that we need to, and those that will help us, and those that won't be able to.
I think it's more difficult being a football manager these days than it ever has been.
I've got no comparison, so I have no idea. I can only talk about what it's like now.
Fingers crossed for Saturday.
Thank you very much.